This is a robbery for the Los Angeles Lakers as some new rumors and reports have dropped surrounding Rob Pelinka's next move that has fans fired up. We'll write down exactly what that is and discuss what this means going forward, as it is very intriguing. We also have a bunch of other Lakers updates to go over today, folks. Before we get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, you guys have an absolute beast of the support, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again. Folks, it is at the interesting point of the offseason now. Things are pretty quiet. Of course, you have got, Luka Doncic. Luckily, he's fine following his potential injury there in the game the other day, but he's good to go. But we're going to be talking about a trade today that has started to surface and rise up in the news cycle that is not only intriguing, but would be a perfect fit, I believe, for this Lakers team. We're going to break that down, and let's dive right into it now. And it is a new article that has dropped and some new reports and rumblings. I want to start with this right here, and you can see Los Angeles Lakers. Now, this is initially, I just want to show you guys the trade first. Then we're going to dive into some of the tweets, some of the articles, and even some new reports that have dropped recently regarding it. So it's the Lakers acquiring Matisse Thybulle and Robert Williams III for Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, and Dalton Knecht. Now, we're going to dive into, picks involved and things like that. But this trade has kind of come up. Obviously, it works for both teams. It works salary-wise, and it is very unique. And this has garnered, some interest, some traction and things like that. And I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because you look at it from the perspective of the Lakers. You're getting a very solid big man in, Robert Williams, but he's not healthy at all. And you're getting Matisse Thybulle, who I think could actually be quite the interesting name. And you're basically just giving up salary filler and Dalton Knecht. But I think for the Lakers, who could use some more depth, this makes a lot of sense. And you can see this here in the quote tweet, which is the quote tweet of this trade in particular. Who says no? Lakers get another 3-and-D guard, a backup center. Also will now have the room under the first apron to add another player too. Would suck losing Dalton, but not sure how much JJ will play him. And then you can obviously see some more discussion about it. I would like this for the Lakers. Don't think the Blazers do this without getting back a future second rounder, but adding a good perimeter defender and a good backup center while keeping Rui would be perfect. And that's obviously the framework here that is the best. You keep Rui Hachimura, who I think JJ likes, I think the front office likes, and ultimately they want to keep him in probably their starting lineup or at the very least their team. And you're getting valuable pieces that can help you in games against, teams like the Nuggets. I mean, really against any team. And I really, really like it. Now, let's look at this report from a little bit ago earlier on this summer. Portland Trailblazers wing Matisse Thybulle wanted to leave for the Mavericks after the team signed him to a 3-year deal. Bleacher Reports, Chris Haynes, and longtime reporter Mark Stein dropped that news. The vibe I got is that Thybulle really did want to end up in Dallas. This is something Thybulle's been wanting to do. Dallas talked about his preferred potential destination. The reason he wanted to do this was, of course, when Luka was still on the Mavericks. This was, this report was from earlier this summer, was brought back up, but this is from, of course, the previous offseason where Luka was still in the Mavericks. Thybulle wanted to play with Luka Doncic. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to join the Mavericks and Luka Doncic. And now that Luka got traded to the Lakers, we would assume the same sentiment would be had with, the Los Angeles Lakers. Not that he has a huge say in where he wants to play, but you obviously want to bring in players that, fit with the culture. You got Marcus Smart. You got a lot of guys here. And I'm very happy that, he wanted to play with Luka. You pair that with the fact that I think it makes sense for both teams. You might have to throw in a second-round pick. And one of the, allures of this trade, rather like one of the big things that you didn't have to give up any draft capital, I'd probably still do this with the second-round pick simply because of the fact that, I just like the two players you're getting back. Robert Williams, pretty high ceiling, pretty low floor with injuries. It's kind of same thing with Matisse Thybulle, whether or not his shooting's good. And we've heard reports that they don't really want to give up a Vando. They don't really, aren't super interested in moving Gabe Vincent and Maxi Kleber. So take that, for what it is as well. Like, is this super likely? It depends on how things shape up. But as of now, obviously we'll have to keep an eye on it. And looking at Matisse Thybulle, coming off a very solid, although very brief year with the Portland Trailblazers, finished averaging 7.5 points, got his shooting stroke back a little bit, and he lives and dies by the three-pointer. If he was a league average three-point shooter on his career, you can see there he's at 34.3%. But if he was like, if he shot 35 or 36% on constant efficiency and constant volume rather, and was efficient rather than efficiency, he'd be a very valuable player. He's one of the best defenders. He grades out as one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, all these different things. He just hasn't been able to, find that game offensively. He's so good defensively. You put him, Marcus Smart on the floor together. Folks, he's averaging 2.2 steals a game in 15 games last year in 20 minutes of play. He is really, really good. And we've had reports earlier on in this offseason from Anthony Irwin revealing that, following Andrew Wiggins being taken out of trade talks, or rather, this was, Wiggins is a part of the Lakers targets, but Robert Williams was a name among others, but also Matisse Thybulle. And of course, we know this report came out before they even got Marcus Smart. So shout out to Anthony Irwin for that one. He called it out. They obviously got Marcus Smart after the buyout, Matisse Thybulle. But the point is, these are older reports, and these are old reports. This one in particular, but it goes to show how long all summer that they've been, the entire summer they've been interested in a lot of these guys. Whether it's Matisse Thybulle, a few weeks ago being linked, whether it's earlier on in the summer when they got guys like, of course, Marcus Smart. It goes to show that they're very interested. And of course, reports from, throughout the summer has backed it up into these new rumors that have started to come out, and even new reports as of late. Now, this is a new report / article from Yahoo Sports highlighting a different trade. And this one is Robert Williams for Knecht, Gabe Vincent, and 2032 second round pick. So this one is kind of under the assumption that, let's say the first deal isn't enough and they want more. And for some reason, the Lakers only want, Robert Williams III. I am very high on Matisse Thybulle. Not as high on, of course, Robert Williams. I think the Lakers right now, if you had to pick between the two, they would probably prefer Matisse Thybulle. It gives you valuable bench depth. And you look at the bench right now, like you have Luka, Reaves, Rui, LeBron, Ayton. Yes, you have that. You have Vincent, Smart, LaRavia, Vando, and Hayes. The bench could use some, depth, and getting, is Matisse Thybulle going to be a guy who is really going to play 30 minutes a game for you? No, 15 to 20 minutes, but he would provide some really good defense. And quite frankly, I don't love the idea of having Gabe Vincent on the team and, playing meaningful minutes next year. I'd much rather have, quite frankly, Matisse Thybulle, a guy who can go out there, although he's not a ball handler, very different roles, but you go out there, play very good defense. You can play some really strong defensive lineups with Smart and Matisse Thybulle, which then you can kind of hide some of Luka Doncic's lack of defense, because Matisse Thybulle has played a lot of games at small forward. And if you have a lineup of Luka, let's say Smart, obviously you also have Matisse Thybulle there with LeBron and Ayton. That is albeit slightly worse offensive lineup. You have a really, really good, defensive backcourt there. I mean, you have your Marcus Smart, who can guard their best player and be a point of attack defender. You have Matisse Thybulle, who can guard, be a point of attack defender. You can even have Marcus Smart guard some of the wings. And then you have LeBron and Ayton and Luka to kind of create offensively. I like the things that they can do with that in particular. You add Robert Williams in there. He's a depth big. In this trade, you'd of course be getting rid of Maxi Kleber, so it kind of replaces that. Dalton Knecht, of course, in this case as well, will be heading out, opens up some room there. But you can see, according to this depth chart here, like Dalton Knecht's barely even in there. He's not even within the second unit. He would be a part of the third strings. And I think that's how the Lakers view him right now. And that's why a lot of these trades are, starting to be brought up with it. And at the same time, we're seeing some good things out of, Maxi Kleber this offseason. Maybe they want to keep him around. Knecht, to me, he's either going to have to get a bigger role or they're going to have to move him. If they keep benching him and barely playing him, his value is going to go to zero. It's pretty close to that right now anyway, former first-round pick. I don't think it's high, but this is the time to trade him. And people might be saying the opposite, right? People might be saying this is the worst time to trade him because his value is at the lowest it's ever been. Former first-round pick a couple years ago, or a year before last, the summer of last year. And then now, of course, he had a pretty good start of his career, really good start of his career. Then he got benched and he barely played. If they know they're not going to play him and they prefer guys like Jake LaRavia, who they just gave a 2-year, $12 million deal to, I think it was rather, you need to go ahead and cut ties with him there to get actual serviceable role players while they still have LeBron James on the team. But let me know down below what your thoughts are on all of this, folks. I'm going to keep you up to date. It's obviously dry time right now, so bear with me. Thank you guys for watching. You guys are peace. Cheers.